I want to get to the next speaker. I'm available, of course, to folks. We'll run our information, make sure people have it and get to us. I want to bring up Kymberly Lewis. Kymberly Lewis is a central piece of what allows us as an organization to have a ground floor of legal information. Where we're going is we are going to be able to provide information to folks on the ground floor where if they need a lawyer, fine. If they don't need a lawyer, fine. We want people to start getting in contact with legal services on a non-emergency basis. There are so many people that get in contact with us when it hits the fan, when somebody dies, when something happens, when there's a triggering traumatic event, and you're not only dealing with the trauma of the event, but the trauma with the fallout. So what we're trying to do, my dad used to always tell me something when I was little. When I asked for something, he said no. He said, you're looking to the corner, I'm looking around it. It took me years to get that. So what Pro Se helps us do is helps us to look around the corner, connect with legal services on a non-emergency basis, and help yourself the best way we can. Also, Kymberly we've got a truck, we've got a van out here where we can come and transact with you, and it is COVID friendly. It's got a big glass in the middle of it where we can actually come to you if we need to meet with you, sign up your case, whatever the case may be. All right, so Kim will tell you a little bit about herself, and she'll give you some information that's going to be really helpful. So come on up, Kymberly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Joe. Can you guys hear me okay? I usually don't use a mic because I'm short and small, so I'm very loud. So my name's Kymberly Lewis. I am the supervising paralegal and manager of Pro Se Legal. We have 2 offices now in Ontario and the other one in Redlands. My background is I used to be the public relations director for Church of God / Church of God of Prophecy, which is a non-denominational multiracial church. My job was to get the church out into the community and to do community service needs. So I would do a pathway to citizenship classes. I am an immigration consultant. We would do food bank outreach programs or whatnot, and I really started listening to the community and where the disconnect was. And we'd get people like that would come into our food bank lines. They'd have a packet of papers like yay big and say, I need help filling this out. I have no clue what any of this terminology is. I don't understand, where to even file this or anything else. My background legally is I am a paralegal. I am a degree paralegal, have worked for attorneys for about 15 years before going out on my own. When I went out on my own, I had a very successful LDA or paralegal business in Riverside. Pro Se Legal actually plucked me and asked me to come on board with them to help them open up paralegal businesses. So what is non-lawyer legal? That's pretty much what we are. Not everybody needs an attorney for every single legal service. A lot of times, mom falls down a flight of stairs, she's now in rehab, they need a power of attorney. Who do they call? Someone like me. So then there we go for a flat rate fee, have the power of attorney signed and notarized, family now goes on their way. Next thing, somebody has an uncontested divorce. Can't just get along anymore. COVID, drove everybody crazy, so you had divorces on an uptick. Unfortunately, most of those people are still living in the same house because they can't afford to move out or there's nothing to rent. So you're kind of a weird situation. But those kind of situations happen day in and day out. We had a gentleman, and I'm going to share 3 stories with you. We had a gentleman come in who did get a divorce. His divorce was finalized in April of this year. He wanted to set up an estate plan because we offer a lot of services, which I'll get into at the end. Our practice is to pull every single property deed prior to our client coming in. Number 1, to make sure that the proper person's on title. Number 2, to make sure that somebody is not fraudulently trying to transfer a property that does not belong to them. Those that work with fair housing and whatnot, especially in the public defender or the DA's office, know there's an uptick in fraud. So part of our practice is to pull the property deeds for all of our clients that are coming in when it entails family law, probate, estate planning, or just a regular deed process and a divorce. So gentleman comes in, wants to establish a living trust. We pull the deed. He says that his divorce was finalized in April. Guess what? Wife is still on title. So I ask him, your wife is still on title. Do you know that? He had no clue that his wife was still on title. So I go, well, in your divorce proceedings, did any of this come up? He had another paralegal outfit help him fill out the paperwork. Whoever filled that paperwork out for him did not disclose that there were community assets and community debt. Not only did they own a property together, a 30-year marriage, he was also a San Bernardino County employee, which means that he had a huge PERS retirement attached to that as well. So our office operates very different than most non-lawyer legal services. We like to take that client a step further, not just have them come in and say, that's great, you want me to do a trust for you, which I could have done, but it would have been improperly done. At the end, it would have been a disservice to him. So unfortunately, we had to send him to an attorney. Because we want to be a network of referral services for everybody, we were able to go ahead and refer him out to one of our family law attorneys that will help to wrinkle out that divorce that was improperly done. When he's done, he can come back to us and we'll do the estate planning for him. Another client, we had a lady call the office last week wanting us to go ahead and notarize on a will. Anybody who knows in California, a will's not notarized. You have to have 2 witnesses in order to make it a valid will. So we kind of were a little questioning as to why would she need a will notarized. Well, she came in with a stack of papers that she had pulled off from prepaid legal. It was an intake form. She had no idea that what she had actually paid for and what she had brought to us was not even the actual documents. It just was an intake form. So we, of course, went ahead and helped her, explain that to her, showed her all of the issues that were there, drafted a will for her, and she proceeded with her surgery the next day. You know, that's why she wanted to go ahead and to create a will. So I bring back where I was the community outreach director for the church into this organization, and there's a disconnect. A lot of times people know what they need and they just don't know how to get it. Or they don't know what forms they need, or they don't know what court it needs to be filed in. If you're in Banning Beaumont, you have a probate. It's not filed in Riverside, it's filed in Palm Springs. You know, people just don't understand some of the proper procedures. So that's where we come in as non-lawyer legal. Another client came in to help us. She wanted us to help her finalize her father's probate. Okay, fine. So I asked her to bring in the probate documents. She didn't have the probate documents. Went ahead, got the case file, and we pulled the minute orders from court. The first probate was filed in 1994. It is now 2021, and the probate has still not been finalized. So we were reading through the minutes, and sure enough, the judge kept asking for the foreclosure documents to show that the property was in fact foreclosed and that there were no assets to distribute to the next of kin. Family had no clue where to get foreclosure documents. Obviously, Dad passed away in 1994. So with our relationship with title companies in the Inland Empire, we contacted them, asked them for the documents. They sent us the foreclosure documents. We went ahead and drafted everything, submitted it to the court for a very minimal fee. The case will be closed next month. But it's that very simple transaction to where a lot of times people attempt to do things on their own. A year into it, realize, oh my God, it was filed with the wrong court, or the court was asking for X, Y, and Z, or I just don't even know where to get the information that they're asking for. So we at Pro Se Legal want to be that missing link in the gap, I don't know how to say it, or that sponge in the middle of the gap, to where people who don't necessarily need an attorney can come to us to have the forms completed, to have them filed on their behalf, and to then extend the other hand. So let's say we had somebody come to us that unfortunately was in the process of an eviction. Well, maybe it was a warranted eviction or maybe not, but at least now I have a referral source that I can send this potential person to. Let's say I have an individual come to me and they're trying to fill out their wage claim form. So in the interview, I'm filling out the form on their behalf, and they start disclosing more and more information and tell me, oh, hey, I'm going to send 5 of my other friends, to you because they all work in the same warehouse. Now we have a referral and an attorney who we can go ahead and refer to. That there's probably a bigger issue than just the basic skipping lunch, not getting paid. So with that, I want to share some of the services that we have to offer at Pro Se Legal. Number one, as Joe had mentioned, we do offer mobile services. COVID, again, is on an uptick, and people just aren't comfortable coming into an office. So we have a very COVID-friendly mobile office where we're able to go ahead and to assist you or your family member. One of the keynotes is that a lot of our senior livings during COVID would not let individuals come in to go ahead and to see their family, but to even deal with day-to-day, work that needed to be done. As a notary, we were exempt from that, and we were able to go ahead and to go into senior living. However, I did have to have a COVID card to show that I was vaccinated before they'd actually let me in. But let's say that the facility had said, no, we're not comfortable having you come in. With our mobile van, the client then is able to come into the mobile van to where they're not exposed to COVID and go back to their senior living. So we offer mobile services on any service that we have to offer, which is uncontested divorces, complete probate packages from beginning to end, or as now you know, those that have issues in their self-represented probates can come to us and we'll help finalize those. Estate planning packages. People are taking advantage right now of the low interest rates. They're refining their properties, and some people actually have a living trust already established. The refi company is taking that property out of the trust, doing the refi, but never putting that property back into the trust. So again, there's a disconnect with services that people offer. So we have clients that come and say, Mom and Dad established a trust 20 years ago. They went ahead and did a refi 5 years ago. Mom and Dad died. Guess what? Now we're in probate. So we not only want to go ahead and to be the service to establish a living trust, we want to make sure that the trust that was already established for you is properly vested. So if somebody comes to us and says, we refied, the refi company will not put that property back into the trust. We charge a nominal fee to go ahead and to draft the deed, and we will record that and put it back into the trust for you. On that note, we had a client who had tried to do her online estate planning. Came to us to go ahead and to notarize and witness all the documents. The documents looked good. They were all in place. However, on the Schedule A of the living trust, it listed their primary residence. So I asked the client, well, where's the quitclaim deed so that we can go ahead and notarize this, and that way you can transfer it into your trust. She said, what do you mean a quitclaim deed? Nobody told me I needed a quitclaim deed. They just asked me what my assets and my property were. So we went ahead and established and redrafted the quitclaim deed and recorded it for her on her behalf. So now her online estate planning service was at least complete. So that's kind of where Pro Se Legal is. We also do business formations on the LLC corporations. We help with contracts, caregiver contracts. Right now, there's a lot of people going into people's homes to take care of them. You need to have a contract in place just to make sure that everybody's protected on both ends. We also do immigration. As I mentioned, I am also an immigration consultant. The church I went to primarily was a bilingual church, so I would see a lot of injustice in our immigrant communities. And every day I'd get that tap on my, shoulder, Hermana Kim, I have a question, Sister Kim, I have a question. So there I would go and I started thinking, oh my God, there's so much injustice, within this community, I need to do something to help. So with that being said, every single one of our offices, which now we have 2, soon to be 3, we have a bilingual paralegal in every single one of our offices to help assist our Spanish-speaking community. If we open an office and it happens to be in a different immigrant community, I will find a paralegal that speaks that language, just so we can better serve our community in an overall fashion. So with that being said, any questions that are going to come? I know somebody had asked a question about a power of attorney and a living trust. Number one thing a lot of people don't understand about a power of attorney is the power of attorney is only valid while that individual is alive. Once that person passes away, the power of attorney passes away with them. When the person dies, the POA dies with them. People don't know that. They'll say, but the bank, I'm power of attorney. I need to go access the bank. Next thing they know, the bank account has been frozen because mom or dad or whomever has then passed away. So on our estate planning packages, we offer 2 very comprehensive packages. Our first package is a married couple at $9.95, and this is going to sound like a commercial, and I'm sorry. Our single package is $8.95, but let me explain what that entails. Your revocable living trust, your pour-over wills, your financial power of attorney, your healthcare power of attorney, your HIPAA waiver, and for those that are 60 and older, we actually offer a dementia document. In the event you start to lose your marbles, then what? Then we have our burial instructions. Yeah, come see us. Your burial instructions, and then we also draft the deed, and we actually use what's called Simplifile, which is an online e-recording system. So we are e-filing your deeds right upon signature. We're able to go ahead and to also draft deeds and record them out of state because we are not lawyers. Lawyers, as you know, cannot practice law or do anything outside of whatever state they are licensed in. And it includes all the notaries. So we have taken our clients and giving them a lot of extra services because when we do something, we want to make sure that it's done right. I don't want to draft a document and then 5 years later have you back in my office because somewhere in the beginning we did something incorrect. Number one, that's bad customer service and it's just bad business. We want you to come back to us because you referred family and you referred friends, or some other legal issue has come about. A question I did have posed to me was, daughter is power of attorney for mom. Mom has beginning stages of dementia. Brother is the primary agent. What can the daughter who lives close by do? Well, there's a lot of factors there. How severe is mom's dementia? Is she still able to go ahead and execute a document? Is mom willing to have brother and sister maybe be co-agents? Or, so that way they're both listed as number one, but maybe when number one is unavailable, then the other one can come into play. Or is brother willing to go ahead and to write a statement that he's currently out of town or unable to manage mom's affair, and the second agent comes up? So there's a lot of factors and there's a lot of weird questions that come into play. We can't give legal advice, but we can give you the practicality of it. If somebody comes into our office, they own multiple properties and all they have is a will, I can state a will still be probated. You might want to consider a living trust. A lot of people don't understand that. And again, there's a really big disconnect, especially in the immigrant communities where people don't understand. They get their will and they think if I die, everything goes to my children. Not so. So pro se legal, again, it sounds like a commercial. I so apologize for that. But we're able to offer non-legal services to fill that gap in when a client or a person does not need an attorney. And when they do need an attorney, then we're able to go ahead and to refer them out to the appropriate attorney because of the resources that we have. On our family law, domestic violence is also on an uptick. We're able to go ahead and with our domestic violence clients, refer them out to public health or refer them out to a nonprofit agency so they can go ahead and get some sort of counseling. So we just don't want to do the paperwork for our clients. We really want to establish that relationship to make sure that they get from point A to point B. Any questions anybody has? Yes. Correct.
It can be a sole proprietor.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, give us a call. We actually offer a very comprehensive package, and you may need the whole package, or you might just need something simple. So give us a call. Okay.
Don't apologize for what you're doing, because it's important. My nickname, as I was telling the speaker before, is the dot connector. And I had never heard of you, and I wish I had, because I know so many people that go to these free breakfasts, and they screw stuff up so badly. And I'd really like to see you get in touch with a couple like Gloria Harrison and different people that have the local papers. What you're doing needs to be told. The story needs to be told, because people are just getting raped.
Oh, absolutely. When I ran the food bank, program, I mean, we had immigration clients that would come into my office where they paid an immigration, attorney $11,000, and nothing was ever filed on their behalf.
And done incorrectly.
Correct.
And then it's just horrific.
Correct. One thing though that we do as a pro se legal team is we actually have our clients engaged in what we are doing for them. They get copies of all of their documents. The communication is very one-on-one. You are assigned a paralegal. That paralegal or LDA assists you. So you're not bounced around, from like person to person.
What's an LDA?
An LDA is a legal document assistant.
Oh, okay.
Had I worked, let's say for Joe, as the attorney, then I would be a paralegal.
Okay.
But those of us that are, quote, independent paralegals, the law states that we can't really classify ourselves as paralegals, so we're legal document assistants.
Well, I'm sure even Joe would admit that it's the paralegals that do a fairly large amount of the work.
I'm like, that's why his paralegal's here.
I want to get some of your cards because at my office in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do a lot of notary on the document for the transfer of properties.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We would
I
be
can
happy to
recommend
help.
Put your card in our boards.
Yeah, and we do have bilingual staff, like I said. So, and they're completely versed in everything, in family law, probate, business formations, immigration, the estate planning, and then we get some off, we're looking at starting to do expungements because there's a need for that. I'm sure the public defender will go ahead and, and recognize that. We're looking at possibly maybe helping people fill out paperwork when it comes to the evictions. That's still kind of a fresh area, so we're just not quite sure. So we really want to be that resource for the community that when they can't fill something out or they are self-represented, come to us and let us help you.
If you need it, one of my best friends from college days has probably the largest and the best interpreting for the court system. And she has over 60 languages that she represents.
Nice.
Through court.
Nice. We do have another paralegal that I work with. Her and I have a very good relationship. She is of Arab nationality.
Okay.
So when we do get some of those clients, I always want to make sure that they're comfortable in whatever language. Right. So, yeah, but thank you.
When you want to put your property in the living trust, what does the servicer, meaning your lender, need to know, or what kind of communication needs to go to the bank, the servicer, the lender, about, and also, if you already are in a modification, and so does that affect you being able to, and do you have to make contact with the servicer when you put the property in the living trust?
No. So you don't put debt into the trust. So a lot of times we have clients who come in that are on reverse mortgage.
Yes,
and so maybe the property's valued at $500,000 and the reverse mortgage is only $200,000, and that's what they've pulled out. They still have that $300,000 in equity. That property is still their property. They need to put that into their living trust because God forbid if they pass away, then that $300,000 is going to be probated because that wasn't protected. No, go ahead.
So I want to make sure I'm clear. The servicer has nothing to do with you putting that mortgage into the living trust.
No, and we had just did a living trust seminar a couple months back, and that was the number one question posed. And I still have a mortgage. My property is in a trust. I think almost everybody in California still has a mortgage.
Right.
But no, that is still your home.
Okay.
If I die today, then my children who are the beneficiaries and the trustees are going to determine what they need to do with that property. Are they going to sell it? Are they going to maybe pay off the mortgage? Are they going to rent it? Are there maybe other assets to pay off that mortgage? But they're able to have control of that asset as opposed to going to court. And again, everybody has equity in their house. Also mobile homes. If a mobile home is valued over $166,000, that needs to be in a living trust because the probate code under probate 13100 states any asset under under 166,000 is there's a simple form under the California probate code 13100 where you don't have to do a full probate. You fill out the simple form and that asset's able to come to you. So we have clients that say, Mom died, there's $10,000 in the bank. The bank tells us we can't get it. Great, let's wait the 40 days. Let's get a certified death certificate. We'll fill out the form, go to the bank and get your money. And that's a service that we offer. But the banks don't tell people that. The banks, will say stuff like, oh, well, you're not on title, or you need a court order, or you need whatever. And the kids are like, there's only $10,000 in there.
But an affidavit would also be able to allow you to talk to the lender if your spouse or loved one did die.
Correct.
If you're going through a foreclosure crisis,
Correct.
Then they won't talk to you because you're not on. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Or if you have a properly drafted power of attorney, that allows for you to deal with real estate transactions, that allows you to go ahead and apply for government benefits on behalf of your, person. So our power of attorneys have all lined item out all the powers. So that way it's just not limited. A lot of times people have what's called a limited power of attorney, and it doesn't take them a step further. Or some of the power of attorneys that you can get online stop when the individual becomes incapacitated, mentally, or they lose their marbles. Well, that's why you need a power of attorney, So again, there's just a huge vape, and there's a lot of resources out there, and there's a lot of non-lawyer legal stuff that you can do or we can assist with that people just don't know about. And, like Joe said, biblically, for the lack of knowledge, people perish, bottom line. And then all the pastors like when we do our estate planning topic, because for all those people that forgot to tithe during their lifetime, can go ahead and leave 10% to the church, upon passing, So, hey, I got you covered on that end. Sure.
My mom did her will when I was 25 years old. Now I'm 65. We were reading last month the will, and then my sister were single. Everybody got married, divorced, remarried, and then the names changed.
Probably want to update that.
And then is update or create a new will?
You can do both. You can do update. It would be a codicil. I would suggest just probably getting a whole new one. Be a lot easier.
Okay, thank you.
And then yes. No, it's okay. I'll get him next.
You touched on domestic violence. The domestic violence is for a male.
No, domestic violence is for everybody.
Okay. Is there resources for him? He was arrested in his home by someone that had a restraining order on him. Is there anything he could do about that?
So what kind of reason? He needs counseling, or he needs, if it was a false accusation, I'm sure that the public defender's office would actually have a lot more resources. But COVID, unfortunately, there's an uptick in domestic violence. There's an uptick in divorces. We had a lady come into our office. She was getting ready to divorce her husband for the second time. Because COVID, they had come together and they couldn't get out of the house, and you know what I mean? And so I had asked her, I said, are you sure you want to do this? COVID's going to end, because I don't want to do your divorce a second time and you guys get remarried again and then it just be this back and forth. And she said, yeah, you're probably right. So she hasn't called us back. Yeah, uncontested divorces.
Oh, I have a case for you.
Oh, okay. If it's contested, they're going to an attorney.
Yeah, because
Let's get this last question in.
Okay, my question is the administrator over by, is the administrator the same thing as power of attorney?
No, so the administrator and the executor come into play when an individual has passed away. So a trustee for the trust, an executor for the will. The power of attorney is for health and finances, and that's when the person is alive.
Okay, then my question also is, let's say the adult, the parent, owes our IRS over $10,000. Is that child liable for that IRS debt? Okay.
So I can't give legal advice, and there are two attorneys in the room, and I'm going to be quiet and divert that to them.
Okay.
However, when you have a trust and you have a will, it is the trustee and the executor's responsibility to pay all debt.
The trustee, me?
The trustee and the executor to pay all debt.
Okay, all right, I got you.
I have another question maybe for both of you. It's about this Medicare. I know that, when you sign for Medicare, I'm new 65 years old. And then they said if you get some medical assistant or something during some time, then when you die, you don't have nothing to will because the government gonna take over the property for whatever they pay.
Yes.
Can you give me some information?
So let me tell you, that's called Medi-Cal estate recovery. So the law changed in 2017 to state that if a property was non-probatable, meaning non-probatable, it was either held in joint tenancy or it was in a trust. So a non-probatable property could not have estate recovery from those that were on Medi-Cal benefits who were in a skilled nursing facility. So you're absolutely right. So if my property, I get on Medi-Cal and I die and I'm in skilled nursing for, I don't know, 45 days and the state covered me for $30,000, they will throw a lien on that property to recoup those $30,000. You're absolutely right. When you fill out that Medi-Cal application, there's that little tiny word, at the bottom, which nobody reads and nobody tells you about. It's called estate recovery, but it's only for probatable properties. So a non-probatable, again, the property's held in joint tenancy or it's in a living trust, the state cannot come back and recoup. We should probably do a workshop on that.
Okay. Let's do that.
All right, thank you, guys.
Come on, thank him.